So this year has been anything but normal. Typically in the springtime, we see the market get more competitive, but this year we actually saw the market soften quite a bit in favor of home buyers. No, in the beginning of the year, a lot of us, we were a little bit scared, but what's going on in Chandler today? And what are some functional implications, or what does it mean if you're planning on buying or selling your home in the near future? I'm Courtney Strzelczyk. I'm a real estate agent here in the East Valley, and my goal is to give you a really brief, practical perspective of the real estate market here. And if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, it helps me a lot. Okay, so first I want to talk about Chandler in relation to the rest of Phoenix Metro. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, in the springtime across Phoenix Metro, we saw the market soften quite a bit. Now, today, July 2025, we're still seeing some cities or submarkets of Phoenix Metro struggling and really heading to a stronger and stronger buyer's market. Now, most of these areas, this isn't a hard fast rule, but a lot of the areas that are struggling right now, these are areas that have more entry level homes or starter homes. So think of areas like Avondale or Buckeye, Santan Valley. Interestingly enough, the ones or the markets that are doing or performing the best are more of the higher price sectors. So, Paradise Valley or Fountain Hill. But the mid-range homes, those homes are staying pretty flat. And that's actually where Chandler is. I would say that Chandler has the most mid-range homes. Of course, we do have some entry-level homes and higher price homes as well, but the majority of our homes are more in that mid-range. Technically, when we look at the balance of supply and demand, Chandler did soften a little bit more the past week. However, it's at a much slower rate than what we saw in the beginning of the year. However, with this very slight decline that we saw this past week, it did technically push us officially into a neutral market. And how we determine that is looking at the balance of supply and demand, how many homes are on the market compared to how many buyers are out there, and then we come up with what we call the market index. Now, anything below 110 is considered a neutral market. We were holding on for that seller's market for quite some time, but we're just barely tipped into the neutral market this past week. And the market index was 108.4. So this technically means that we have a neutral playing field between buyers and sellers. Kind of funny because I've had recently a lot of friends or past clients reach out to me and they're like, wow, our price is really coming down. It seems like on Zillow, there's a lot of price drops or price cuts. The interesting thing is, we did see some price, when we look at the median sales price, we did see that decrease during the springtime. But when we look at YOY, year over year, so comparing July 2025 to last year in July, we only saw the median sales price drop about 2% or $10,000. Right now, it's about $550. And last year was $560. So I do believe, just, based on conversations I've had with so many people, is there's this impression that we're seeing these drastic price drops. And that's really not the case. There's definitely quite a bit more inventory out there, but we aren't seeing like these 20, 30% price drop. Will prices or the median sales price continue to go down? It's definitely possible that we could see it go down a little bit more, but it's probably not going to be as drastic or significant as, some people on social media are saying it will be. Like I said a moment ago, sure, the market has slowed down or is continuing to slow down a little bit more, but it's just not at as fast of a clip as it was in the springtime. And then the other thing is we did see mortgage rates drop a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, but we did see when they dropped that a lot more homes went under contract. So all these changes are pretty mild, but it does point us in a direction of more stability than, a further significant decline. So typically whenever I make one of these videos, there's usually one comment or someone sends me a message saying that, hey, they think that the market is going to drop 30 to 40%, or they're waiting to buy a home until the median sales price drops by that amount. The thing is there's just not a single market indicator even hinting that we would see the median sales price go down by that amount in Chandler. Now, there are some markets I know in like Florida or Austin that are seeing drastic price changes, but it's not happening here. And to be honest, if we did have that significant of a drop for the median sales price, it would probably be because of some economic travesty, which probably wouldn't be super beneficial to anyone. Of course, we always cheer for improved affordability. That is really important. But unfortunately, when we look at historical trends, drastic price decreases has really never been the answer for improved affordability. But I'll get off my soapbox and talk to you about what this really means or some functional implications if you're buying or selling your home this upcoming year. So right now, most homes in Chandler are staying on the market for over a month before they actually go under contract. And the homes that are going under contract within a month, these homes are all very clean. A lot of them are updated. They're very easy and convenient to tour, but most importantly, they are priced appropriately. I've seen homes that, were barely overpriced, maybe by like 3-4%, and those homes were sitting for a long time. People are very sensitive to pricing right now, and this happens when we enter into more of a neutral or buyer's market because buyers have a lot of options. But at the same time, there still have been several homes that I've seen that have received multiple offers. In these homes, they're clean, they're move-in ready, they're often in great neighborhoods. Sometimes they have really big yards. That seems to be a house that goes pretty quickly, but most importantly, it's priced appropriately. A lot of times the homes that get multiple offers, sometimes they'll strategically price it just under market value with the intention of getting a lot of people to tour that home and then get multiple offers. If you're buying a home, I got 2 notes for you. The first is as you noticed, we have a lot of inventory on the market right now, and the homes that are outdated just aren't going as quickly. So if you can find the home that's outdated but has good bones, let's say they replace the roof and AC, but it has an 80s or 90s aesthetic, often that can be a really, really good deal, particularly if you find the seller that really needs to sell. Maybe it's an inherited property, or maybe they're relocating out of state. The second thing is, if you're looking for a very specific property, maybe you want to be in a very specific neighborhood, or maybe you want a large yard and you haven't been able to find it, now is the time to look for that type of home because we have a lot more inventory. A couple years ago, 21, 22, if you wanted, a large yard, let's say in Pine Lake Estates for a certain price point, it was often really, really difficult to get that house, but now there's options out there. So just some food for thought. Now, if you have any specific questions, for your price range or a certain type of home you're looking for, please reach out. I would love to be a resource for you. Thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.